So you guys have a lot of toys to play with now in the future, including the X-Men, right?
Yes.
Could you, of course you can't tell me much, but can you give me a little hint of what the future is coming? Where is the future going and the excitement?
I don't know where the future is going. It's funny that people call it the X-Men. There's a lot of female superheroes in that X-Men group, so I think it's outdated.
I wanted to do a video on Victoria Alonso, going through the fact that, you have somebody who's worked at Marvel for 17 years, and she's too stupid to realize that X-Men means extra human. The X means, the X gene, and the men or the man means human. Jean Grey is an X-Man. Storm is an X-Man. Kitty Pryde is an X-Man. It's not about gender. It's about them being mutants versus humans. That's all it is. But when you have SJWs working for popular sort of mainstream, it's not even, that's the thing. It's superhero comics are kind of mainstream, but they're not popular. The characters are really popular. And you meet, a lot of people, enjoy the X-Men cartoons and stuff like that. But you have a very rabid fan base for the X-Men that as long as you appeal to the real fans, you will get all the, clout chasers and the, bandwagon fans to join in. That's what happened with the MCU early on. And it's weird that Victoria Alonso saw everything as, well, just because it's called the X-Men and has been popular as the X-Men, we can change the name because people will still listen to us as Marvel. Apparently her whole deal was, or has always been, the mantle is more important than the actual person. And this has to be something to do with her being an SJW, her being somebody who's constantly pushing inclusion and diversity, where the individual doesn't matter. Everything is a collective. It's about symbols. It's about propaganda. It's about people and how you relate to them one-on-one. It's about a system, a patriarchy or whatever. So to her, a mantle is just, you can call anybody Iron Man. As long as they're wearing an armor, if you say they're Iron Man, that's what the people like. They don't care about Robert Downey Jr. being charismatic and talented and bringing life to Tony Stark. They don't care about Tony Stark. They just care about him being Iron Man. So that explains why these stories is just so poor, a lot of them, because these characters don't have depth. The actors bring depth to it, but a lot of times the stories themselves don't have any depth. It's just, or as the movies went on, they got more and more silly. The MCU humor got worse and worse and worse. That Joss Whedon humor, and I feel bad for Joss Whedon because despite whatever troubles he's in now, and he's been canceled and whatever was going on with him and Dawn for Buffy, whatever that's all about, I don't know. But when he did it, it was fresh and it worked. It worked for Buffy. It worked for the first Avengers. And then, Guardians of the Galaxy came out, which had a similar humor, similar style and similar type of humor. And then it just got carried away. There's just something deeply wrong with the fact that these properties that people are really passionate about, comic book fans and geeks are really passionate about, are in the hands of people who don't care about it, but get not only to make up really bad decisions, but then get to attack fans who complained about it. I still don't believe that they actually fired this woman. Things must really be bad for them to fire her. I hope she wasn't fired because she had some affair with some intern or something. I hope they fired her because of her work. And it'd be great to see a woman in a powerful position be fired for doing a poor job, a bad job. It almost never happens now. You can't even criticize a woman. Kathleen Kennedy, I don't know. Perch says they're happy with what she's done. They're happy with what she's doing with Star Wars. So, okay, I know it seems like the focus is on Star Wars now. They're going to double and triple down on that. I don't know how true it is that they're going to bring Rey back and have her team up with Chewbacca and Baby Yoda. I don't know if that's the case, but fine. If they want to do it, they let them do it. Looks like Indiana Jones is going to be a shit show. Mandalorian has lost a lot of viewers. And in both instances, you have these women in charge. Now, Feige is supposedly in charge of the MCU, but it's clear that he's gotten a lot of pressure from these inclusion and diversity assholes. Disney lost their statehood in Florida because of Victoria Alonso. She apparently pressured Bob Chapek into getting involved in the Florida bill, what they call the Don't Say Gay bill. I forgot the real name of it, but he said, I don't want to be political. She insisted he got political. And this is what I said. Like, they talk about the patriarchy, but it's men enabling these stupid women to do these horrible things. Kathleen Kennedy should have been fired a long time ago. After the rise of Skywalker, she should have been fired. Now that you see, like, after Obi-Wan, at the latest, she should have been fired. But she's still there. I don't know, like, what kind of contract she has. I don't think it's that. I think they just enable her. I think that they're just like, well, she's a woman in a powerful position. If we fire her, people are going to look at us like we're, misogynists, or, the patriarchy is struck again. And it's like, no, like, if you want equality, then you need equality of accountability as well. Women hate other women being held accountable. And men are not acting like men these days. They just allow women to push them around. And I'm not saying this as an anti-woman person. I'm just saying that, look, just because somebody's complaining about something in anything, just because there's a guy crying about a black Aragorn, doesn't mean he's right that there should be a black or Aragorn, and that this is what representation means. And this is the thing when we talk about, I love Spider-Man because I see myself in Spider-Man as far as I identify with Spider-Man. I relate to Spider-Man. I don't mean I can see myself. Like I can finally see a Peter Parker that looks like me. No, none of that. But anyway, bouncing around. So Victoria Alonso, and I just heard about this like a week or so ago. Somebody did a video where they were talking about how she's obsessed with this idea that it's just the mantle. You can swap anybody out, and as long as you put somebody in a costume and call that person Captain America, people will run to the film. I don't understand how somebody can be that stupid. Working at Marvel for 17 years, listening to fan feedback, looking at, I don't see how you could be so closed off to what people actually are saying, what they want, and be like, no, it doesn't matter, like Robert Downey Jr., as long as we put some random negress in the armor, call her Iron Heart, that sounds like Iron Man, people will just light it because it's somebody in the battle armor. That's it. That's all we need. So I'm glad she's gone. Not sure why she's gone. Don't know if Kathleen Kennedy's going to be gone. Still don't have any hope for the MCU. The last great MCU film was Infinity War. Endgame was a nice little capper, but I didn't like it. I had problems with, like, overall I didn't like it. I had problems with, like, the snap being 5 years just so that Tony can have a daughter, stuff like that. But yeah, so Victoria Alonso is gone. Yeah, Kathleen Kennedy needs to be next. Kevin Feige needs to be next. And actually Bob Iger needs to go too. But yeah, we'll see if they can right these ships. I don't actually think they can. But it'll be interesting just to see from, like, as an outsider at this point, because I really don't expect anything as far as the films from either Star Wars or Marvel go at any point. I don't expect any of them to be good anymore or to care about them.